everybody. Welcome into the 2 p.m. Masterclass. Hope everybody is doing great. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to jump on. If you haven't been here before, y'all know that at Business on Purpose, we do big wins. So big wins means begin in gratitude. Would love for y'all to jump in the chat and give me something good you're thankful for, something that's going well, either in business or in your personal life and professional life. Love to hear how things are going. Anthony, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Shawn, good to see you too, man.
Glad you could jump on. Long time no see.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you.
You got a big win for tell me something good down in Florida.
Well, we got hit with two hurricanes. I wouldn't
I
say
heard
that's a
that.
big
Yeah.
win, but
Nope.
business literally tripled overnight. It's good for me, bad for a lot of people, but the win I would say is my office staff. I was able to bring on a very dynamite office manager and an excellent salesman, and
Awesome.
they're killing it right now.
Man,
So,
that is incredible.
yeah, it made my job a lot easier.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that is great, man. I knew when I met you, I was like, man, it's about to click. I felt good about where you were going, and I hate that a hurricane happened, but you were ready for it. That is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lori said, blessed and grateful for business. Thanks, Lori. That's great. What kind of business are you in?
I'm just in real estate. I've been in it for
Oh.
31 years, so it's been good to me. I'm happy. I'm very blessed.
Just real estate. No, not just. You're in real estate. We love real
That's
estate.
right. I am the
Yes.
catalyst for people's dreams. How about that?
I love that. Amazing. Where are you located?
I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Dallas, Fort Worth. Awesome. Very good. We have some clients all over Dallas, Houston area. That is great.
Yep.
Well, everybody else, if you got big wins, throw them in the chat. Oh, Ashley, hiring director of operations for my law firm in the Carolinas. Interview is going well. Great applicants, giving great ideas. That is awesome. I love seeing hiring go well. Hiring can be a challenge, so that is huge good news. Well, I will not take y'all a ton of time, but I do want to get to the work we've got. So I have shared my screen. Can y'all see how to budget on the slides there? And I will pull my notes up. This is such a big opportunity for us with our business owners to start the year. And we have just a laser focused agenda in November is to build budgets, to build our dashboards, to get our visibility of where's our money, who are our people, and are we going to start the year fresh? Too many businesses get started and it hits 2025 and we say, oh, we better make our plans. We better put our strategic plan together. We need to figure out our budget or our people. But our hope is that as businesses, we've prepared for the year to come, not on January 2nd, but on November 22nd, for example. So you are here and great job being ready. Our masterclass today is just how to forecast and build a simple budget. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself, where I've been. I started in production home building 20 something years ago, and I was a superintendent for many years. I did some work as a carpenter in Seattle. And then I ran a nonprofit here in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 12, 13 years. And so I've been in hiring and budgeting and all those meetings. And I loved what I did. I did not always love budgeting, but it is good. It is good for you. So I've been there and I've been coaching with BOP and I've got a whole full roll of clients and loving just people all over the place. So we're excited to be with you this morning. Thanks for taking the time. As Scott says all the time, I would encourage you to take phones, distractions, and get them away. You have paid to be here with your attention. And so let's lock in and do some good work. So this was a quote that Scott got a couple years ago. It may be just better if you closed this business down and got hired as an employee somewhere else. It was wisdom that Scott gave an owner named Katie, who is a great business owner, and she realized that she was only making about $32,000 a year in salary and owner draws working full-time in a bookkeeping firm. Clint, similar story in architecture firm in North Carolina. Clint was a classic wire-rimmed, cool architect who really loved the architectural community. And they had been doing work with Scott and who realized his work was beautiful. He did great work as an architect. But he sat down to review his numbers and realized he had no margin, zero margin after running a business for 24 years. So he had been running a so-called not-for-profit firm for 24 years. Now, Clint and Katie are normal business owners per se. They're the normal people, but they're not normal, right? That's not the normal way we should run businesses. It is the norm that owners do not know their numbers, but it shouldn't be the norm that they don't know overhead costs and cost of goods and what we spend on marketing. It is the norm for an employee to ask the owner, hey, we really need this software. Can we buy it? Or it's the norm for heroic business owners to simply look at their bank account, ensure there's some money there, and then give the green light for the employee's request. So they look at their bank account. Great, that sounds good. The norm is not what we are shooting for as we liberate heroic business owners from their chaos. And the good news is that it is not challenging for you to beat the norm. We work with business owners all over the country, and we help them realign their budget, their priorities, and what they should spend money on. Where is their money? So we do this all the time. Oh, this entire chapter would not have existed if this architect from Virginia, Mel Price, had not worked with Scott, and her husband Peter and Tom had a growing team, and they were doing this great architect work that strengthened the community, and they were working through design and build. And so they were interacting on a call with Scott. In the middle of the call, Mel allowed us to use her firm as an example for some of the tools they'd been training and implementing. And all of a sudden she asked Scott, she says, Scott, how do we do a simple budget? How do we do a simple budget that gives us what we need without all the nonsense? And Scott's brilliant response was, yeah, that was his response. Now, after Mel's question, Scott realized we need to create a training module on budgeting. Mel was right. She knew that she and every other heroic business owner needed a simple way to understand what a budget was for. So let's look at the word budget, bouge. You may know the term bougie is the new millennial Gen Z term, right? Well, the word bouge is originally from bourgeois. It's a French term. And the idea of bouge is that it was a 1900s word that means a leather bag or a pouch or a container. I also saw this word means insufferable. So we're not going to go with the insufferable term. We are going to go with the leather pouch. But the idea means that if you have a defined bag or a defined pouch of money, that when you want to go spend your money as a business owner, you know that there's different compartments for each item and each purchase. So creating a budget is similar to creating a compartmentalized bag of preset funds so that you can spend things at the right time for the right purpose. When I was in Boy Scouts, I used to love the camping. I didn't like all the writing and the merit badges, but I loved the camping. And my favorite part was getting all my stuff together and all the bags. And I'd have a bag for this and a bag for this and a pouch for this. And you knew that you had order because everything was in the right place. In the similar way, a budget is for the right time and the right purpose. Do not gloss over that fact for the right purpose. There are principles to setting a simple budget that all business owners will do well to follow. And the good news is that you've been walking through this entire program, you're going to be ready to go. So first, a simple and well-built budget will take a forward-gazing look towards the vision of the business. I do not want you to miss this. What good is a budget if you don't know what the purpose of the business is? And so for our clients, we start with what's called a vision story. It's a multi-page detailed vision of where we want the business to be in 1, 2, or 3 years. And so if you haven't spent time putting a vision down for why you sell or buy real estate, why you do general contracting, why you do plumbing, if you haven't spent time putting your vision down, then a budget may not be as helpful for you because you don't know what the funds are going to be used for. So getting a vision of the business is critical for us to then say, there's where we're going. Okay, now how do I align people and funds to get my vision of my business where we want to go? Second, we need to look at previous spending. So first, we look at vision. Where's the company going? Second, we look at previous spending. There are incredible tools out there, whether that's AI, whether that's online software tools. There are great tools that will download and catalog all of your previous expenses and tell you exactly where you've been spending your money. We just tried one at our family, and it downloaded all of the spending we've spent. And I about had a heart attack when I saw how much I was driving and how much gas money I was spending every month driving my kids around. Now, I love my kids. I love that they're in sports, but I had to reconcile my budget with also my vision. I want to be a great dad. I want to take care of my kids. I want them to enjoy their life and playing sports, but also I need to have gas in the tank to get them to those things. So the vision matches the previous spending. So we take a look at previous spending, that becomes an anchor, that becomes a starting point to build the budget. The third filter for simple and well-built budget: vision, previous spending, and now making the appropriate time to actually sit down and build the budget. Most of us probably are just trying to get through it, putting out fires, reactive. Putting a budget together for next year is a proactive way for you to put your targets ahead of time instead of just reacting to what's happening. Starting a budget have you ever jumped out of a seat in an airport terminal and I have these dreams all the time where I'm late for a flight or something, and I run through the airport and I'm trying to make it, and then I get there and wait for an hour. You've been there? Well, that's kind of like a budget that isn't well executed. If you sprint out of line to zone 4 boarding and you make it just in time and then you stand in line, that's not what we want as a budget. If you spend all this money in this one place and then realize you were fine to spend money, oh, that's helpful. So making the appropriate time to focus on the right categories, the right contexts is going to be the third thing you need to do. So vision, previous spending, and then make the time 1 to 2 hours to write these things down. People jumping in the waiting room here. We'll let them in. All right. So block the time, maybe no more than 1 to 2 hours, and review your vision, review your previous profit and loss reports if you got those, what you think you might need in each category in order to hit your near-term goals, and what you are projected to need. So we're going to do a budget that's actual, budget that's prepared, and then when we get to each month, we're going to do an actual that reviews how well we're spending. So if I drive my kids a ton and I expect to spend $100 in gas and I spend $200, I review each month and can see that I need to align my current spending with my actual spending. So the final step, once you block the time to build those categories and do that, is now to write down numbers in every category. Now, this is not a magic formula. We have some guidance formulas and some percentages we can send you based on Mike Michalowic's book, Profit First, that we implement in all of our coaching systems. So we take a percentage of every category and block it out and build multiple bank accounts so that you're spending out of the right buckets too. But we can give you some target percentages. These are not hard and fast. I've got some clients that are high, some clients that are low, just depending on the type of business. So write it down and create a clean budget sheet which categorizes all these categories, and write down numbers in every one of these categories. You can print out last year's percentages. You can do it based on next year's goals. If you did a revenue of $400,000 and you spent $22,000 on business meals, then your business meal expense percentage will be about 7.8%. And so this is one of our examples that is our last year's budget. You can kind of review, here's our revenue this year, which we're targeting at 450. Last year we were 325, and we've got a percentage of total, and we've also got another sheet that shows a budget to actual. And sometimes QuickBooks makes it easy to do this. If you're not familiar with QuickBooks, we love spreadsheets, and we can make it look really good. So you print out this, start writing down your percentages, vision, make the time, make your categories, and then set your numbers for this year. One of the things that I'll say that I have not done well, my wife texted me this morning. This may be too personal for y'all, but she texted me this morning. She said, "What did you spend $700 on?" And I was like, "Oh, I just paid the credit card I owed." She's like, "You didn't tell me about that." And I was like, "Well, it was car purchase. I had to buy some car parts and I had to do some other things." She's like, "Well, I don't care what it was. You just need to tell me before you spend the money." I'm not always great at this, so this probably is not, I should probably take my own medicine here. But I realized, I was like, how ironic that I'm teaching on budget and I'm learning to communicate in my own house about how we budget and how we plan our purchases at our own home. So this extends to family as well. And if you do well in work, you'll do well in family, to learn the budget. And I'm learning with you. So this is our example of our budget and how we would build it. A couple of things to remember on this. Say for business taxes, payroll and taxes are included, but usually your business taxes will not be included. And so those are another category that we're going to build a bouge or a bucket or a holder for, to make sure we've paid Uncle Sam and paid ourselves. Our goal is to keep you out of jail at all times and for you to have more money in your pocket and for you to be not in jail. So business taxes are important. Make sure you do that. We recommend setting up 6 accounts: income, profit, operating expenses, taxes, owner's pay, and cost of goods. And so we set up 6 accounts with businesses so we know exactly what cash flow needs we have in every bucket in every week. And that's just one way we do it. Happy to share that information too. So maybe you have a question about accounting software. What if I don't have accounting software categorized and running these reports? Regardless of the size of your company, which brand you use, which thing you're doing, it doesn't matter to us. We just want you to be doing something consistently. So week in, week out, month in, month out, we've scheduled and reported, and we are aligning our vision with our money, with our people, and with our reporting. And so we've got a system of building, here's our target, here's where we're spending money, and here's where we're over, under, and reallocating funds as needed. So once you have your numbers plugged in, you get all your full categories, all your numbers. I want you to set a once a month touch point on your calendar. We are huge on scheduling things that need to get done. So making time for what matters most means making time, setting a 15-minute even. I will go down to 15 minutes on my calendar because I know if I only commit to 15 minutes, I am very likely to do it. I say, I can do about anything for 15 minutes. So if I set a 15-minute reminder, I will go in there, I will check a touch point, I will review my numbers, and I will send it on to the right people. Set a touch point, set a reminder that you will go back and review. If you've got a team meeting that you run each week, say on the first week of the month, and it's important for you guys to review budgets, or if you got project managers that are reviewing budgets, set a reminder first week of the month in the team meeting to touch base with everyone on budget in that meeting. Next, set a reminder. Number 2, share your budget with your bookkeeper, with your financial professionals, with your appropriate team members. The reason the budget is helpful is because it's a standard and we can measure against it. And so if all the team is measuring against it, we're going to do a better job of holding to it, just so we're accountable to hitting that budget. And so if your team member asks, can we buy this? Do we have it in the budget? Is it there? And we can look at the budget and say yes or no, it's in the budget. So that feeling is super empowering. I can't tell you how many business owners have enjoyed paying taxes at the end of the year, where it used to be a absolute drudgery to write a check that's 6 figures and huge. And now when we've built in the correct bank account structure, they see the money's in the bank, it's earmarked for that, they know that's the price of business. And it's empowering to know that as a business owner, you are in control per se, and you are managing the things that you need to manage correctly. So whatever you need to do, set a touch point, share your budget. Can we buy this? Do we have it in the budget? It's empowering. Now, you will hear us often say, vision without implementation is hallucination. And that's a Joe Calloway quote. And we say that very often because we can dream about budgets, you can talk about theory, but it really comes down to setting the time to make your vision clear and plain, set the vision, set the budget priorities in your categories, target some numbers, and then bring some people along with you and schedule. So that's our content on budget. Here's what we'd like to do. We would love to walk you through this. Typically, our masterclasses, we have just sent out tools and we'll send out sheets and opportunities for you guys to do on your own. And what we have found is that every time we send a tool or content out, the implementation goes down, because I used to be so typical with this. I'd gather all these tools and I'd put them in my toolbox and I'd never use them. So what we'd like to do with y'all is, if you would like to get our copy of the budget and our full kind of breakdown of how we build a budget, we'd love to set up a 15 to 20 minute call with one of our coaches. We've got a couple of coaches that have made some time in their schedule next week and at the end of this week that would love to sit down with you and help you implement this. And this is, again, no strings attached. We'd love to just give you a tool and help you do better at managing your finances and putting your money where it needs to go. So if you would like that opportunity, if you'll just drop your email in the chat and I have a copy of this chat, I will connect you directly to a coach and I will set you guys up with a coach that will be ready to help you implement. And I've given this tool to all 8 of our coaches. All of our coaches have this tool. We all use it. It's one of the very first parts of building business that we do, and we'd love to do that for you. So if you would like that, feel free to drop your name and email in the chat, and we will send you an email in the next couple of hours to set up an exact time to connect. I'd love to take a couple questions. We've got some time, so let me unshare my screen so I can see y'all. See if I can do this without blowing up Zoom. All right. Any questions? I'm going to check the chat out. Oh, Brent's in here. Hey, Brent. Glad to have you. What did I miss? I didn't know I was in a fellow room with a coach that he was eyeing me here.
Making you keeping tabs on you, bud. Keeping tabs on you.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate it. My brother from South Carolina. Anything Brent, you'd say to business owners? You know, you've worked with tons of different types of businesses and how to budget and how to implement it. What are some things you've seen?
I think you nailed it with consistency, regardless of what platform you're going to use. And I'd like to reiterate, set the time, even correlate it to your life. If my wife and I don't set Fridays, 3:30 p.m. or whatever the time may be, we don't look at our budget and we get to the end of the road and we go, good gracious, we just blew that out of the water. And so, man, discipline equals freedom. I would just say that discipline equals freedom. Be disciplined in your finances, and it will give you freedom for the things that matter most. I think you hit all the major points. Nothing that I would add to other than the consistency. Give somebody permission to hold you, to ask you, hey, did you review the budget this week? Somebody that maybe is not in your work sphere or home sphere, to keep you accountable. Because without accountability, we start going the opposite way. It's just life, but whether it be exercise or go ahead.
Do you have a tequila budget, Brent, in your
I may have a tequila budget. That is a great point. Not about the tequila. We use, guys, if y'all knew me, I am not a budgeter. That is not my nature. I have incorporated the multiple bank accounts for the Whitaker family. It has been an absolute game changer around the clarity of our finances. We don't rob from Peter to pay Paul if we take a vacation or if we want to give generously or when the tax man comes calling. It's been life and work necessarily intersect. So the principles apply to both.
And I've always found that if you're on a budget, it makes me prioritize and make the most of what needs to happen. So if I know, I've got $100, I'm thinking, what is the biggest impact I can make in my business with that $100? But if I've got free reign to spend whatever, well, then we're going to be all over the place. So actually budgets are great for aligning strategy and purpose in your business.
That's good.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, I'm in Raleigh, so another Kakalaki person on here.
I went to Sanderson High School. Do you know where
No
Sanderson
way.
is?
I went there for 1 year.
What? Brent's
Yeah.
wife was from Athens Drive High School.
No way. Yep.
Yeah.
Apex.
Apex. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your question, Liz?
We live like right by the Krispy Kreme downtown, which I'm sure if you went to high school,
Oh, yes.
you've been to a lot. So my question is, it's a confessional somewhat. So we've had a business for almost 9 years and it's been profitable enough that I am not very disciplined at all in our bookkeeping, financial reporting. There just continues to be enough money to make payroll and pay people. But now that there are several people working for us, I want to tighten the ship up, in part kind of to know, okay, when we have a review and I would like to give somebody a raise, something where I can see the impact of that, or that makes sense or doesn't make sense, that sort of thing. But I feel like I'm maybe a step away from being able to make a budget of how do I just, I don't know, any resources on getting yourself organized in order to even, start to do that. And I use QuickBooks and some of this stuff are automated rules and the rules are wrong. It puts our rent in the wrong pile.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
You're saying just to get things categorized.
Just to get things kind of organized so that I know what is, to be able to see what my actuals, even if I made a budget now, to have the discipline to, match it up to the actuals. I don't know, a good process to, to get to that. So
Yeah, what I did with my own family, because we did run a budget a couple months ago, and I was like, I need to see where the money's going. And I didn't take the whole year. It was going to be too much work to go through the whole year. I took
right.
3 months and I went
Yeah.
through and categorized everything and I grunted through it. I think that's one way. If I can, these 3 months are going to be pretty typical of spend in our family. And so I
Yeah.
ran through it and that was super helpful. I think your other question is, how do you objectively pay people? And I think that, a multiple of revenue earned, I think you can use. We've got some tools for that. And
Mhm.
if you get on with one of our coaches, I'd be happy to make sure he has that tool. But we've got a couple of different compensation tools we use around if it's bonus. What kind of work are you guys in, or what kind of
We have
business?
a medical clinic,
Oh,
and it's
great.
direct primary care, so it's membership based. So, we don't have a lot of collections and that sort of thing. And but I want to be innovative around our compensation. Like for our
Hmm.
clinical staff, I'd rather them share in our success than like raise their hourly wage.
Yeah, wonderful.
But want to think through it well and not kind of get things.
Wonderful. We've got a tool we use that kind of you can specify, the number of meetings and then the number, we do it for sales. So like
Uh,
if it's a roofer that sells 10 roofs and he, does two of these types of things, it catalogs them and adds the revenue in a gross sense. And then you percentage off that. So we've got a tool that can do something like that. I'm happy to show that to you as well. But yeah, I think that I love that idea. A lot of our contractors are doing profit sharing. So they'll take their net profit and then take a percentage of that net profit based on different project managers' performance in how long a project took, how much it cost, and things like that. But it would be pretty similar, just with a different numbers.
yeah, yeah.
Brent, do you
Awesome.
have anything to share there?
No, that's where my brain went, was that compensation calculator. I mean, that's been gold. Just a lot of clarity. We also work with a similar practice as yours, and so we have worked with your kind of your niche.
Uh-huh.
I just thought I would love to connect y'all. She's been phenomenal, and
Yeah.
does what you do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of so many of our clients are in the contractor space, but we also coach law firms,
Right.
so and medical practices.
It's definitely a good space to get in, because what we do is usually the doctor is running it, which, they have a lot of other things that they're doing. In our case, my husband's the doctor and I do, the other part, but anyway.
Medical billing is similar to construction billing. Those are the only two comparables I've seen. Construction
Yeah.
billing, the accounting gets so wonky, and medical billing is, yeah, yeah, wow.
Yeah. Ours is easy though, because it's
Okay.
membership.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Like concierge type
It's
medicine.
we don't like that term,
Oh, sorry.
which is just it's direct primary care is like the general.
Okay.
Concierge is a little bougie. So
Okay.
and
Sean's
they usually
bougie.
and they usually also still run your insurance. It's kind of
Okay.
like yeah.
Wonderful. I love that. I love that model. I think that's just a great hands-on, way to care for people. It's
Yeah.
great. Mm.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for asking that question. Is there any other questions? I didn't see any more in the chat. Oh, let's see. We have a car budget personally. No tires are coming. Why not prepare for it? I love that, Jesse. Had change your alternator. Didn't stress out. You had the account for it. That is great. Nicole implemented bank accounts last year. Awesome, Nicole. Love that. Nicole is one of our great partners at Boson Solutions, and they do incredible staffing and recruiting. And so thanks, Nicole, for sharing that. All right. Well, y'all have a great Wednesday. And thanks so much for being on here. If you have any other questions, my email is Shawn, SHAWN, at mybusinessonpurpose.com, and be happy to answer any questions you have beyond that. But thanks y'all for joining. And if you posted your email, our coaches will reach out to you by the end of the day. Thanks y'all.